What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We are set for a wild week in the market. It has been falling last week. Apple stock is tanking. They're down like 3.5% on Friday. Either way, we have a lot of important news to cover in today's video, and more importantly, a lot of great plays. So make sure you guys stick around to the end. Like I said, a lot of great info. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But Tom, fill us in. What's some of the most important news for this week?
Yeah, on Tuesday, we actually have the CPI data coming out. And, the market really hit new lows on Friday and really tanked below that 448 support. And this CPI data has been at all-time highs lately, or at least at highs relative to the past few years. And I mean, man, we've been seeing inflation numbers going through the roof. We saw Yellen come out and talk about possible defaults with the Treasury last week. And I don't think the market took too kindly to that. She came out with that news on Monday and Tuesday. The market now fell pretty drastically on Friday, all the way down to 445.30 on the SPY. I mean, that's a pretty bad sell-off. Look at the chart. We have Apple really selling off as well. And that CPI data on Tuesday, I think, will give a pretty big insight into how this inflation's going. Because, Powell and all these big talking heads, they've been saying that inflation is going to be transitory. But whenever we look at this and whenever we, it's been like 3 months now of everybody talking about the inflation being transitory. And, we're starting to see the data kind of show that the inflation might be sticking around longer than what they have suggested over the past few months. So we'll have to see how it ends up going. We have the VIX kind of popping up here and the SPY kind of pointing to the downside.
Alrighty, and another thing I really wanted to point out was Apple. So, like I said, it's down like 3.5%, or it was down like 3.5% on Friday, and bad news came out for Apple. Basically what happened is iOS apps must be allowed to direct users to payment options beyond those offered by Apple. So, this isn't good news for Apple. Like we saw the stock tank down, and when we have a powerhouse stock like Apple down 3.5%, that's going to put a lot of selling pressure on other tech stocks, but just also the market overall.
Yeah, definitely. And you could see how that really weighed in on the S&P on Friday. Like Apple started falling pretty drastically around 10:15 Central Time. And if we go look at the SPY's chart, you can see it more of like at the end of the day, like at 12:30, it started to really weigh in on the SPY, and the SPY ended up tanking off later in the day. So that definitely played a role in the market. And we even saw stocks like Microsoft down. Boeing ended up pointing to the downside. Like we just saw a ton of stocks go down on Friday. It was definitely a pretty bad day for the market. So be pretty careful heading into this week. There's a lot of events coming up. And then kind of talking more about Apple, Mike, they actually have a streaming event coming up on Tuesday where they're going to be announcing some new iPhones. The iPhone 13 is expected to get announced. They're saying it might have the same specs as the 12, but with an upgraded camera. And then also the Apple Watch is expected to get a design change for the first time in a few years, which is awesome. But this is also coming on Tuesday, which on Tuesday is that CPI data. So if the CPI data makes the market go down, just to expect Apple's event to probably lose some luster, because obviously people might be pretty focused on the overall market. But man, that Apple event should be pretty good. And, there's a lot of data that suggests that whenever they announce new iPhones, sometimes their stock falls and stuff. So we'll have to see how it ends up moving. But I would think in the longer run, the new iPhones and everything will end up helping them.
Good stuff. And then I also want to talk about some of these hype stocks like AMC. We saw it on Friday. AMC was up around 3.5%. They are still above that $50 level, so they're definitely holding their ground. They're looking pretty decent overall. Other hype stocks like CLOV, which is Clover, has just been getting absolutely destroyed. They're down like 8% on Friday alone, and they just had a horrible rejection off that $11 resistance level. So, they're still like kind of in the game, but Clove's getting smacked around. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is normally when the market gets kind of crazy, these hype stocks also tend to go up. So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. And then lastly, I wanted to look at CCJ. I know there's a lot of hype with uranium stocks right now. And CCJ, I actually really like them over the next couple months and the next couple years. But keep in mind, I think they are pretty overbought, especially in the short term. And this is coming from someone who has CCJ calls. I've been in CCJ calls since September 2nd. So it's been popping up. It's been awesome. The trend has been great. The momentum has been great. and I just feel like we are due for a little bit of a pullback. So let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's been really breaking out. These uranium plays have been awesome, like CCJ, UUUU. Both of those stocks have been really moving up nicely. CCJ is definitely the better of the two. And look at that on the chart. I mean, that's a really nice breakout. And, it is a little overextended, like you said. So just be a little careful. But I really like that stock as well. And I don't know, Mike, do you know some news with like uranium? Like what's making these stocks fly up?
Yeah, so there's a variety of reasons. There's a huge asset management firm that is just buying up so much uranium right now, and that's like one of the biggest reasons. I actually made a video last weekend, Tom, talking about this exact topic. So if you guys want to know the full story with these uranium stocks, I think I made the video last weekend, I believe, on Saturday. So definitely keep that in mind. In that video, I showcase everything. But Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Microsoft to the downside.
Yeah, and look at this daily chart of Microsoft. It's really starting to turn over, but make them fall below 295. And I think if they fall below that, we could see a pretty good sell-off.
Good stuff. And with the next one, we have BLNK.
Yep, and make Blink fall below $30.50.
All right, with the last one, we have UPST.
Yep, and with Upstart, go ahead and make them fall below 265.
Sounds great. So we are watching these three plays for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow. If they break below the levels Tom listed, we like them for potential day trades to the downside. But Tom, UPST was a great bot play on Friday. So let's take a look at that one. The hybrid bot called out UPST 260 strike put options at $525, and they ran all the way up to $730 within a couple hours. So the bot did a great job on Friday, and actually a great job all of last week. Last week, I believe every single play popped for at least 22%. So it was something like that. But overall, bot did a great job. If you want to trade with the bot every single day, you can click that first link in the description down below. That includes daily option swing trades, day trades, order flow bots. You can access a great community, and you can talk with Tom and myself basically all day long. So definitely check it out. It's that first link in the description down below. But Tom, let's get right into our member of the day. Today's member of the day is Alex L. He's always commenting on YouTube. He joins the streams all the time. So huge shout out, Alex L. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for all of the support. But let's get right into the comments. With the first comment, we have a different Alex saying, Mike and Tom, you guys always give good technical info on stocks. I just want to say thank you. Can you please mention or talk about how J&J is doing? So Johnson & Johnson. Will it be a good long-term profit investment? So thanks for that great comment. And that's the multi-million-dollar question right there. But statistically speaking, Johnson & Johnson has been a very safe company over, its lifetime, basically. They're a low IV stock. So I would say more likely than not, it will continue up over the next couple years.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the longer term, it will continue up. And with it kind of selling off here over the past few weeks, it might be creating some pretty good, maybe some good areas to maybe buy in for the longer term. It looks like there's a pretty good support at like 165. And then after that, I would definitely target 160. But yeah, I could see Johnson & Johnson going up in the long term too, especially with all these vaccines and stuff like that. It seems like they might be around for a little while in the future, it sounds like. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. But I think Johnson & Johnson will end up being a pretty good company. And, besides the vaccines and stuff, they have a lot of other products as well.
All right, and we have Jason saying, thanks, guys. I did a 2023 call debit spread with BUD. So Bud, and then he said thoughts on Bud. So BUD, it's kind of been all over the place over like the past couple years. That max weekly chart doesn't look the best, but I feel like it's at a good spot right now. I like that you did a call debit spread, so you kind of like fight off that time decay a little bit. I'm not sure I'm not sure what strike prices you got, but either way, I don't think it's a bad play at all.
Yeah, I think Bud might be pretty good for the long term. They had that big drop whenever COVID happened, and hopefully they can end up recovering back because they almost look like a Boeing or like an airline right now, how they're kind of falling back down with that type of sector.
All right. Then we have TC saying, thank you for doing all the work. What do you think of SOFI, and can it make a run like UPST? So on a technical basis, I think it'll be really, really hard for it to have a run like UPST. That was a crazy move, and I was actually in UPST calls before it popped up. And hindsight, I sold way too early. But I mean, technically, it can continue to run. It can run like UPST, but I just feel like it's very, very unlikely.
Yeah, I would say so too. And like whenever you look at UPST, they had a lot more momentum like to the upside. They weren't really down there at those like all-time lows. So that's my main reasoning for it also.
And then we have Hunter saying, I wonder if Hindenburg is punching the air right now with DraftKings. Let's take a look. So, yeah, I mean, that short report came out and it hurt the stock in the very short term, but I knew DraftKings would come back up and it's looking pretty good. And I'm a huge fan of them for the long term.
Yeah, that's a really good recovery. And I'm actually really curious. I'll have to see like what Hindenburg's been doing because man, you would almost think that they tried to create some negative news just to buy in lower or something. Cause I mean, man, DraftKings seemed like a pretty solid stock. As soon as they came out with that report, the second DraftKings hit support, buyers just really flew in, bought DraftKings right back up, and we're all the way up to that $65 resistance. It does look like DraftKings might go down for a couple of days off this resistance, but either way, they've been recovering up so nicely. It's been an amazing move.
Yep, and then we have Whitney saying Peloton is coming out with closing line, watch them. So Peloton had an amazing day on Friday and even Thursday. They went from like $100 all the way up to highs of 100, all the way up to $118. So they had a great move and they have a ton of momentum.
Yeah, that's actually a really good move on the daily chart. Those two like 5% plus green days were awesome to see. They came all the way up to that 120 resistance, and that's actually great news, Whitney. Hopefully they can end up being pretty big in the clothing department, and I think it'll end up being pretty good.
Good stuff. And then we have Dawn and 420 asking about RKLB. So let's take a look at this one, Tom. RKLB, it's been doing very well over like the past week or so. They went from $10 all the way up to 21. They have a lot of momentum right now. IV is through the roof. So Tom, do you have any like levels for us on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really hard to say with Rocket Lab here, but there's definitely a good upper resistance right around $21 to $21.30. It's definitely bounced off of each of those levels a couple of times. And then to the downside, there's a pretty big support at 18. So there's a pretty good range that we can use for tomorrow with Rocket Lab. But, this stock's really been going up lately. And, I haven't heard too much news. I only heard a little bit about it on Friday, but it looks like a pretty good stock here for some momentum if it can break out above 21 or 21.30. But I'll be honest, it looks pretty overextended over the past week.
For sure. And guys, if you are an options trader, definitely check out that first link in the description down below. Daily option swing trades, day trades, access to our bots, in a great community. You can cancel at any time, and the bots have been on fire. But Tom, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching heading into this week?
I'm really going to have my eyes on Apple with the Apple event. Of course, they had a big down day, and I'm honestly going to be looking for a lot of stocks to the downside. And I noticed some pretty bad technicals on a few stocks, one specifically being Boeing. And I actually really love Boeing for the long term, and I wish that they'd go up, but it looks like they fell out of this longer term technical off this blue trend line. Looks like they fell below that. I would not be surprised to see them keep going down, especially if Microsoft and the overall market keeps falling. And then another one is Tesla. They're also getting rejected off of the blue trend line back to the downside as well. And I'll be looking for them to maybe come back down around that $700 support sometime over the next week.
Good stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.